Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, First Community Financial Bank, the community bank where you come first. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wynette, and with me now representing Operation Welcome You Home is Donna Mosavillo and Andrea Simone. So welcome to the set, ladies. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's wonderful to have organizations like yours, particularly as we think about our veterans. And I want to start with you, Donna, and talk a little bit about what prompted you to found this organization. What got you started?
Well, I was very involved with the Naperville VFW, and in being involved, I would meet different families, etc. And I met the mom of who had her son coming home from Iraq, and she wanted to know what she should do, how she could bring her son home from the airport. With that, the commander and I put together this grand welcome home. 2 weeks later, another son was coming home, and they said, you need to call Donna. And it just started snowballing, and we started doing our welcome homes. They're for our soldiers, men and women coming home from deployment. They truly are American heroes. Then it started where we were doing the send-offs. And sadly, we would do our KIAs, those killed in action. We also do honor missions for the older veterans dying of natural causes. But as it escalated and we started realizing the need for the support for our veterans locally, we decided we needed to keep moving forward and be there for them.
I think that's wonderful. I think it's very interesting how you talk about it just, got started with one. And I think so often they always say a journey starts with a single step,
Yes.
and that's how yours got going.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And so important to have people there to support you.
Yes.
Yes. Coming home's hard.
It is. When you've been away from your family and, often deployment in the sandbox, and you can't talk to your family, you can't call them, you can write letters. They don't get the letters until months, and they need the encouragement from back home and the support. And so does the family, so we're there for them as well.
So if you would sum up your mission, what is it?
To be there to support our local veterans.
I like that. Nice, short, simple.
Thank you.
Andrea, how did you get involved with Operation? How did you get introduced to Donna? How did you get introduced to the whole Operation Welcome You Home?
Well, actually, Donna had found us. She had learned of my husband and his injury in Afghanistan, and had gotten in contact with me and expressed that she wanted to provide us with a welcome home ceremony. And also she had approached us about giving my husband an Action Track wheelchair, which is a chair that allows him to go pretty much anywhere outdoors, whereas a wheelchair, just a regular wheelchair, wouldn't allow him to do. So not only physical help, but also a lot of emotional help from Donna and Operation Welcome You Home.
One of the key things when we presented it to Tony, your husband, that I'll never forget, when your little son Will sat on his lap and said, Daddy, now we can go fishing again.
So
Yes, that was...
Yeah, quite something. Quite something. I thought you said something, Andrea, which I really think is such an important thing. You talked about it was emotional and it was physical. And I think oftentimes we sometimes just think of the physical or we just think of the emotional. And it sounds like with Operation Welcome You Home, it's capturing all of those parts.
Absolutely. Not only have they given us, those tangible gifts, also a lawnmower so that Tony can participate now and help his family. And so it's not just the act of cutting the grass, it's giving him this new meaning, this sense of accomplishment. I'm helping my family now.
Taking care of. I think
Sure.
our soldiers always want to take care of, and I think that's an important component that they want to continue. They always are continuing to want to take care of. That's in their nature.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
kind of fulfill those roles that maybe they can't do the same way as they used to. So the organization, again, I can't stress how loved and supported they have made me feel and my family feel, which has been incredible and so needed for myself and my family.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to us to hear that all of the hours that we put in volunteering is making a difference. So it's so good to hear you say that.
one of the things, I mean, a lot of hours and clearly, but you also need the money. And you know, one hates to always have that conversation, but it's an important conversation for the track wheelchair. It needs the money. So Donna, talk a little bit about how you go about getting the money and how can the viewers help you with that?
Well, and that's why a simple favor in helping a mom welcome her son home snowballed, because donations started coming in and we're like, okay, now what do we do? So as the donations started coming in, we started getting sponsors. We became the 501c3, and everything that we do, all the monies that are earned and raised is because of the generosity of sponsors and just local residents in the community.
Yeah, and that's I think people really, I know from reading on your website how it's an all-volunteer organization, and so the fact that the monies that come in are all going to support families like yours and thank your husband for the duty that he served on behalf of his country is so important.
It is.
Yeah. Now, what other specific ways, I mean, obviously one can write a check. You mentioned maybe you've got an event that is coming up that you could participate in to raise some more money.
Well, the easiest way to find out what we're doing and how or where we need volunteers is to sign up for our e-newsletter, and then you can become more involved with us. That's the easiest way, because
Okay.
everything changes daily, so we just don't know. We just had a fundraiser on Sunday. It was a local bike run motorcyclist, and they raised $1,200, and it was donated to us.
That's wonderful. That's one. And do you find people just kind of coming alongside?
I do. And
Yeah.
it's just, sometimes it's a miracle. I still stand there and shake my head that this is all happening. I never dreamed or expected this idea to snowball, but again, we all know how much our veterans need us. Whether they're still active or reservist or older veterans, they're in need as well. We've helped veterans that have come down with Agent Orange, and because of they can no longer work, so they need financial assistance. So we try to help them with that. We have helped family with funerals to pay for them because their veteran couldn't work anymore, and we felt that they needed to have their last services with respect and dignity.
Well, I think, and you've kind of summed it up, and I can certainly tell from Andrea's reaction how she feels about your organization. You've clearly filled a need, and you've continued to evolve and figure out what all those continual needs will be. So we thank you. We thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of our vets. Andrea, we thank you for sharing your story and for being with us today. So if you would like to know more about Operation Welcome You Home and find out how you can support helping our veterans, please go to their website. We're going to take a quick break for a few short messages, but don't go away because we're coming right back with more Spotlight.